Now, the one thing we don't yet have on our armature are hands and feet. So when you take your aluminum foil, you're going to make sure that when you add it on, you create some excess to form hands and feet. You're going to need about 5 or 6 sheets that are cut into about 4-inch wide strips to do this. So let's get started. We'll take one end of this and fold it over to make it pointy, because it's easier to start wrapping that around the torso if you got a tiny little point here. You're going to kick your leg up, and that will allow you to wrap this in a diagonal fashion around here, which will give you the excess you need over here for your feet. And you don't want to squeeze it too tightly when you're doing this. Keep it loose. There's our hips. Bend it at the knees, crimp it a little, squeeze it a little above the knee and above the ankle. And a lot of times, depending on the length of the aluminum foil, you may have more excess back here. If that's the case, take your scissors and cut it with your scissors. I'm going to go ahead and wrap the other one. We want the leg to be going this way, so we'll fold this down like so. Hook this again around the base of the spine. Hold it with your thumb, stick the leg out, and start wrapping this. And this is more than I need, but I can just fold this over and model it into a shoe or a foot shape. And now we're going to do the same thing for the arms. Hook this around the torso under an armpit. And wrap this diagonally. Make sure you get the shoulder joint and right above the elbow. I'm going to squeeze it, and at the end of the arm bone, now I've got some extra to play with. I'm just going to flatten it out to start with. That'll be the basis for a hand shape. Doesn't have to look perfect in this condition. If anything, you want it on the slender side because you're going to be bulking this up with the plaster gauze. Now for the other arm, again, we're hooking this under an armpit and wrapping this diagonally. There's our elbow. Here's the end of our arm bone over here, and we can work on cutting a thumb with our scissors later. Now we're going to bulk him up a little bit in the rib cage area. Take this, fold it over a few times, and we'll wrap this around the midsection. And if it's loose, just take a piece of tape to hold it in place, or a couple of pieces. For the head, we don't need a huge piece. Let's say a piece like this much. We'll hook this on underneath the armpit. Squeeze this around the neck. It's really important to leave some neck between your head and shoulders. And we want the mass in back of the head there. And let's add a little in the belly here. If any of the joints seem too loose, just add a little bit of extra aluminum foil around that joint to stabilize it. You want this to be able to hold the position that you want to put it in. Now with our flexible spine, we can bend backwards or forwards depending on the pose you want to put this in. There's our flexible armature.